Welcome to the When in Robes podcast. This is the only show where you don't need clothes to travel the world. I'm Carly Consker, your host and personal travel guide. Let's do the damn thing. Hello. Welcome back to When in Robes. I'm Carly Consker, and today I'm coming to you with a part 2 to Casa de Campo. It is a very special place to me, and I am joined by a very special guest. Today, I have a friend with me who I met my very first night in Casa de Campo. Please welcome Jose López-Sánchez.
Thanks, Carly. Thanks for having me, Carly. Good to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. Typically, I have travel people, travel industry people. You are not a travel expert, but you are a good friend and you have so much knowledge because you grew up in La Romana.
I did.
So tell us a little bit about you, a little about La Romana, and we'll start there.
Yeah, I grew up here in La Romana. I actually lived inside Casa de Campo, the resort, until I was about 7 years old.
That's crazy.
Both my parents work for Central Romana in some capacity, which is the holding company that owns Casa de Campo. My dad is the head of the hospital affiliated with Casa de Campo. And my mom,
Dr.
López. And my mom actually worked her way up. She started at the front desk at the Hotel Santo Domingo, which is a sister hotel in Santo Domingo. And then she moved to work at Casa de Campo in 1982. And when she retired in 2012, she was the head of sales and marketing and COO of the resort. So I lived in the resort. My family has been affiliated with Casa de Campo. At least my parents have been. And then on my dad's side, we've been in La Romana area for about 160 years. So
that's
we have
insane.
deep roots in the area. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually crazy.
Yeah.
And now you guys are outside of Casa de Campo.
We live just in Central Romana, which is across the bay.
And
I mean, my parents live there. I live in Brooklyn, New York.
Yes. So I was going to actually ask you, what made you want to move to America, like after growing up here?
Yeah. I was lucky enough to grow up with just a wonderful community. I went to the British school here in La Romana, oddly enough called Abraham Lincoln School, but that's neither here nor there. And because of my parents' line of work and the people that we know here from Casa de Campo, I was just exposed to people from around the world. And I knew at an early age that I wanted to go and do college abroad. And then once I finished college at the University of Virginia, I decided to stay. So I went to grad school and I've made a life in the US, but I come home every Christmas. I've never missed a Christmas or a New Year's outside of La Romana, outside of Casa de Campo.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I would come back also, and I have come back for about 10 years. So we met my very first night at the hotel bar. Jose also has a brother, Julio, who he was with, and I was with my cousin, and we just started talking, I feel like. And then you guys introduced us to Altos de Chabon. I don't know if we went out that first night, but we definitely
went out, I think the second
night. But that year was my biggest regret. I didn't stay for the New Year's party that year. And I found out about it. I didn't know about it until I met you guys.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys taught me all about Casa.
Yeah. I remember we met at the hotel bar and then ran into you at Mr. Silvestri, who's the former president of Casa de Campo's holiday party. And so we saw you there again. And I was like, hey, we met you last night. Good to see you. And I think for you, that was like, okay, these guys are legit.
And also
some sketchy dudes.
No, totally. Because we didn't really know anyone anyway. So all I had was my cousin. But when we saw you, they were like, okay, these guys are normal. They're not like creepy people.
Happy. We since we grew up
You didn't
here,
come off creepy anyway.
Thank you. I was like, but mostly because we grew up here, we have so many people that are here for the first time and you tend to meet them just like we happen to be bilingual and we grew up here. And I don't know, I always want to make people feel welcome. And so whenever you meet someone who's new, you're like, oh my God, welcome. This place is so special. And I think it's important to try to communicate and convey that. And to just be like, there's so much you could do here. Like, what do you want to do? Let's do it. I'm happy to show you what you want to see. So
totally.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Speaking of growing up here, just coming back here year after year, what are some of your favorite things about Casa de Campo that kind of make it different from all other hotels?
Yeah. Well, first of all, despite the fact that it's an incredibly cosmopolitan place and you meet people from around the world, there are people who have deep family roots here. Often folks will buy a house, whether their grandparents or their parents, and they will be here every single year after year. And so I felt lucky enough to make some friendships that are lifelong friends that I met when I was 11. And now, we're on our 30s and people have kids and are, I don't have children, but like my friends' children are friends with each other. And it's a really like deep root. And despite the fact that it is a luxury resort, there isn't that sense of transience because people tend to come back because they love it so much. So it's really special about it.
I think that it's so nice that people come back year after year, and I love coming back year after year. Like, I feel like it never gets old. And you also seeing people that come back every year, like it's so nice to have that like community and that group of people that like I'm going to have a great time every time I come.
Yeah. And despite the fact that there is like, I guess a lot of wealth and exclusivity in this community, at least the people I associate with are not pretentious and everyone's just really warm and welcoming, and it's sort of level playing field because there's not an air of snobbiness, which you can find in other places that are similarly sort of, I don't know, exclusive. Yeah.
No, totally. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
So growing up here, obviously you know about the world outside of the walls of Casa de Campo, because typically when you come to Casa de Campo, you don't leave because it's just a massive resort.
Yeah.
So if somebody were to leave, or if you had to recommend someone to do something outside of the walls of Casa de Campo, what would you tell them to do?
Well, first, to underline the point, Casa de Campo is about 7 times the size of Central Park. So the resort itself is truly gigantic. If I were to go outside of the walls, I mean, La Romana is an industry town. It's a sugar industry and tourism town. People here are very friendly. People here are very kind. And I mean, I think most Dominicans tend to be welcoming and inclusive, but because we are a city that operates on tourism, like people are particularly like, hey, like, what can you do? Like, what do you want to do? For the winter season, usually there's Dominican winter baseball going on. And Los Toros del Este, which is our local team, have been really well the last couple of years.
Nice.
This season, unfortunately, they got knocked out before the playoffs. But normally I'd be like, let's go to a baseball game and to see some of like the rising stars that will be the next MLB, sort of massive players, as well as some older guys who are trying to get contracts. It's also just super fun because people will be drinking rum and eating like our versions of tamales, which is pastel en hojas, and there's drums and folks are just like having a great time. I like going to Bayaibe, which is the next town over. It's a small little beach town. My brother, Julio Lopez, and our childhood friend, Nathan Bailey, co-own a restaurant called Onos Bayaibe. It's really nice. It's on the water. It's in this little sleepy village, like fishing village. Yeah. Food's great. I really enjoy going there, not just because it's my brother's place, but it's also because like it's very boho. Like it's
Is it similar to Onos here?
The one here. It's got that same Key West sort of kitschy vibe and decor, but that one is like even more stripped down and chill, like a little beach town restaurant. Besides that, they're just great beaches, like Palmilla, which I mentioned yesterday. It's
I have a question about Palmilla.
Yeah, a sandbar off the coast of the Eastern National Park in the DR is one of the most stunning beaches you can ever go to. We like to go there. And then my family, like I said, has been in the region for a long time. So we have some farms further inland into the mountains. And it's just great to get away. And
how far is the farm from here?
It's about an hour drive north.
And it's beautiful.
It's just,
I've seen photos. Yeah. It looks gorgeous.
It's really nice to be there. It's just nice to get away. And again, like, life here is so much more slow paced than anywhere I've lived in the States. And so it's really nice to come back here and reset and reconnect with like roots and a slower pace of life and childhood friends. And it's just a great place to come back to.
No, totally. Besides, obviously, Casa de Campo being such an amazing hotel, I know that you traveled a bunch. What has been your favorite trip or location you've ever been to?
I spent about 3 weeks in Tokyo a few years ago for work. Wow. And I mean, I stayed in a whatever hotel, but like most of those 3 weeks I was by myself because I had a colleague who had left and I just like hung out in Tokyo by myself as someone who didn't speak any Japanese. It was phenomenal. Like so easy to understand once you sort of get the hang of the subway. People were very friendly and curious. It's incredibly safe. Food was amazing. And I just had like a wonderful time. Probably the best hotel I've ever stayed at, thinking about like sort of the point of this podcast, was the Principe di Savoia in Milan.
Oh, wow.
I stayed there for a night at the end of my study abroad in Italy. Like, was my last night in Italy. And my mom was kind enough to be like, hey, I'm going to pull some favors for you. You can stay there. And I remember I showed up like dusty with like my backpack from a summer abroad, just like scruffy as hell. And they had like spritzers when you walked in because it was the summer. And they had a limousine service that would take you anywhere within like a certain part of Milan to go shopping.
That's so
like,
nice.
A beautiful tub with amazing products. And I remember just being like, I have been like living in a 7-story walk up, like, eating just like pasta,
like this is
butter. Like
pure relaxation.
Yeah, it was truly blissful and amazing. And then the last one, I would say, last year during COVID, a group of us traveled to Wyoming. It was obviously a little scary with the virus going around. Mm-hmm. We were like, well, is it safe? But this is part of the vaccine. So we all masked up and tested before and tested when we got there. But we went to the Eaton's Ranch in Wolf, Wyoming. It's in eastern Wyoming. It is the oldest continuously operating dude ranch in the United States. So you have a horse for the week and they assign it to you. And you just like can go on self-guided horseback riding tours in the Bighorn Mountains. It's about 6 hours east of Yellowstone.
Okay. And so it's deep.
It's like deep Wyoming.
Yeah.
It's a family-run ranch, and it's got cabins. And we just went there for like, I think 12 or 13 of us went for a week. And one day it was 90 degrees. And then the very next day, which was Labor Day, so 2020, it snowed. And it snowed like 6 inches. It was crazy. Like we went hiking, horseback riding in these like red mountains, found a little swimming hole and like jumped into this glacier melt like pool.
That's so cool.
I mean, it was truly bananas and kind of adventurous. And just sort of it's the kind of travel I like to do, as you might have gotten.
I love that. Yeah. No, that's actually insane. I'm sure it was beautiful, but like also the fact that it snowed and then was really hot, or it was really hot and then snowed is like not normal.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
And in September.
No, yeah. Yeah. That's actually insane. So at Casa de Campo, clearly you come back every December. Yep. What is it like here on the off season? Do you prefer it in the off season, or do you prefer it when everyone's back?
It depends on sort of the purpose of my trip. If I'm bringing someone here to visit for the first time, I'd rather bring them in the off season.
Right.
Just so they can get a sense for what life really is like. And there's also just, it's so beautiful and so peaceful, and it's not hectic, and you can get a reservation anywhere and you can do whatever you want. And so usually I bring friends to visit in like May or like March. So it's still somewhat cold in the States, but it's not, crazy hot over here.
Right.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, Christmas is just different. Like there's so much history within like your friendships, and there's so many people that you see, and everything is sort of hectic and like gung ho. Plus the Dominicans are very much family oriented for Christmas. So we're normally hosting cousins, aunts and uncles, grandparents. So we don't really have space for friends.
Right.
And it's kind of a lot to jump into. Like I think about it particularly in the context of like bringing a partner here for the first time.
Which is a big deal.
Like people don't bring their significant others unless they're significant others. Like you're not just bringing someone you're dating.
Yeah. You're not bringing someone that's...
Not for Christmas. Yeah.
Well, you're not bringing someone here that isn't going to be with you for like probably... You're serious.
Yeah, you're serious.
Like you don't bring anyone here. This place is too special to like infiltrate with somebody that like may be gone in a year.
Yeah. And I think actually, I don't know if you and I were talking about this, but I was having this conversation with someone recently. Like everyone who's friends here also sort of recognizes that like, hey, like this is our time to like reconnect. It almost feels like a summer camp in a way.
Completely.
Or it feels like a reunion. And like everyone understands not to bring like someone they're dating unless they're like seriously invested in this person, because I don't want to say ruins the dynamic, but people are just like, okay, it's like, if you're bringing this person here, I obviously, you care about them. Like I obviously need to like make an effort. So,
totally. Get to know them.
There's a bit of like a sacred air around it.
You can bring friends. Like you can be friends who are fun, who are fun and like want to go out, but like a significant other is a really big deal to bring.
Yeah. It's like bringing somebody home for the holiday.
This year when I saw, Julio's different because he lives here, but like the fact that Julio has a girlfriend this year is mind blowing to me, but happy for them.
No, they're great. She's wonderful.
They're great. We're very happy for them. But because usually most people here, I feel like if they're in a relationship, their partner's not here, or they're single.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah. It's fun to be single here.
Yeah.
So for New Year's here, I spoke a little bit about like the New Year's party, but You have a different tradition that I have yet to partake in, and I will.
We'll get you next year.
Next year, I'm 100% going because this year was a bust. This year was a complete and utter bust. The New Year's party sucked. It was so young, and it was pretty empty compared to normal. But people are like scared because of COVID.
Yeah.
But you have a tradition that you do. Do you want to talk about Palmilla a little?
So I think I mentioned this earlier. Palmilla is a sandbar that is off the coast of the Eastern National Park. So it's protected land on the coast. You could access it by land, but it's like a palm tree, like rainforest. So you can't really get there. So you can go by boat.
Right.
And Palmilla is just incredibly beautiful. Like the water is crystal clear. The sand is white, fine sand. Yeah. You can see turtles and starfish and the occasional stingray. But it's beautiful. And the water only really gets to up to like, well, for a stretch, it's between like 4 feet and like 6 feet tall.
Oh, wow.
So,
so you're standing
I'm just standing in the water, like drinking. And so tons of people go on their boats or rent boats like we did yesterday. You'll pack your boat with infinity booze, just like a sound system. And then people historically used to tie up their boats and create sort of like a flotilla.
Did they not do that?
No, not this year. I think again, COVID people are just trying to be a little safer.
Yeah.
But before they would have 30 boats tied up and you could just go boat to boat. Everyone's welcome. There's some people are a little like snobbier about who they let on, so they just won't tie up. But if people tie up, it's an invitation for you to come and hang out and like introduce yourself. I've made friends over the years when I like drunkenly try to commandeer their boat. It's really, really fun. I prefer to do Palmilla because you get up there early. You drink all day in the sun or like lay out and like just hang out in the water. And then you're home by 7 p.m. and then you have dinner with your family and you go to bed before midnight like I did. I went to bed at 11:50.
No, you didn't.
Didn't even see the ball drop.
What do you mean?
I went to bed at 11:50. I was like, I'm tired.
Personally, I had the best view for I saw like 3 sets of fireworks. Like I could see them all from here.
It's amazing.
It was actually beautiful. I did go to the party. It was a bust. I regret not going to Palmilla, and you told me it would be my biggest regret, and it was a big regret.
I did say that.
And it's okay. It's like you make a plan and God laughs. So
I mean, it's okay.
It happens. There's always next year.
There's always next year.
And I say that every year.
There's always next year.
There's always next year. So you could either do Palmilla, or you could do the beach party, or you could try to do both.
I used to do both. In my youth, in my mid-20s, we would do... So you go out all week, like historically. You go out.
You go to like between 3 and 5 a.m.
Yeah. You would start the day after Christmas. So
26.
The 26th. And you would go every night from the 26th to the 31st out every night. And then you would do, go to bed at 5 a.m. on the 30th, wake up the 31st at 9 a.m., get on the boat by 11, be in Palmilla all day till 7, come home, take a power nap, have dinner at 10 p.m. with your family, wait for the ball to drop and, Happy New Year, whatever, and then go to the beach party at 1 a.m. until 10 a.m. and then go to breakfast on Lago Grill and then go to sleep at like 4 p.m.
That's and then what I used to do wake up.
20s. Yeah, no, wake up on the 2nd, basically.
Yeah.
That's what I used to do in my 20s. Now, I don't do any of that. I just go to Palmilla and I really enjoy it because I think it's such a unique place. And you're on a boat and the weather is 85 degrees on New Year's Eve. You're like, yeah, this is special. So that's why I focus on that now.
No, totally. I always ask everyone, do you have any travel disaster stories? And I will share the one that I had coming down here.
I don't think I've had a travel disaster per se. I've generally been pretty fortunate, or I'm just like, whatever. Like, I don't,
Yeah.
One time I was leaving here and I was flying from La Romana to JFK. And
by the way, the La Romana airport, it does not fly to JFK anymore.
I don't think that. It used to be JetBlue.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was taking
it was the best flight.
Yeah. I was taking the JetBlue Saturday flight.
Yeah.
I used to do Wednesdays and Saturdays. But I was flying out of here and we had mechanical issues. So the flight got delayed by like 7 hours. And so instead of landing in New York at like 6 p.m., I landed at 1 a.m. But then I had to cancel my train from New York to DC. I was living in DC at the time. And I ended up like going straight from JFK to meet friends out at bars in New York and staying out till like 3 or 4. And then
did you have your luggage with you?
Yeah, I just rolled my giant suitcase everywhere. I was like, this is really stupid. But that's probably like the most inconvenience I've had. I've only ever missed one flight, and that was
What did you miss it?
bad. I missed the flight here. It was right after graduating law school, and I was flying here with my then girlfriend, someone I was bringing home to introduce everyone.
I can't believe that.
And I got very drunk, and we had set a wake-up call for the hotel.
Yeah.
And the wake-up, I mean, they called us at 6:30.
You just didn't hear it.
No, I didn't hear it because I was passed out. She heard it, and she was like, well, I didn't want to wake you up. You look so peaceful. And I was like, we had a flight.
What do you mean?
So we missed the flight. And needless to say, that was a very poor first moment of that trip. And the trip here ended up being terrible.
Gosh.
I mean, I had fun. I was seeing my family, but like our relationship went to hell during that. So
I guess Costa Rica makes or breaks relationships.
Yeah. But those were probably the worst too. Have you had any horrible?
Well, coming down here. So I've had one leaving here, which Zach and I kind of recapped. We got stuck in Punta Cana for like 2 days at the airport, slept at the airport. It was like the huge snowstorm. I think it was like 2014.
Right.
Craziness. We literally just got stuck in Dominican Republic for days. We should have came back to Costa Rica, but like it was disaster. But coming down here this time, I was flying here alone because my mom was coming from Florida. And we were supposed to both land around 1:00 in Santo Domingo. Obviously, it didn't happen. I get on the plane. I was supposed to have an 8 a.m. flight. Get on the plane. Everyone's on board. All of a sudden, we're like waiting to back up from the bridge. And I get an email from JetBlue saying your flight is delayed 3 hours. And or like 4 hours, whatever it was. And I was like, wait, what? I'm like on the plane. We're all on the plane. We're waiting to like go. And all of a sudden someone else gets a text. Someone else checks the app. God. So the entire flight's like, what the fuck's going on? The flight attendants have no idea what's happening. We make them aware that the flight's delayed, but we're still on it. And then about 30 minutes later, we're like all unsure what's happening. The pilot gets on the speaker and says that there's saturation in the airspace. So there's too many planes flying at once over the sea. Luckily, we didn't get canceled because so many flights were getting canceled this year because of COVID or like pilots getting COVID or whatever it may be. But so they deplaned all of us. And he's like, I don't understand. It's like clear skies, everything, but we're delayed 4 hours. Deplaned us. They had to switch the pilots while we were while we were delayed because their time would have went over their allotted time. And then we finally get back on the plane 4 hours later and we're waiting to take off. And we're like, what's taking so long? They take us out of the line to take off. And they're like, we've been removed from the takeoff line. There's one plane in front of us going to the same place. They have to go first. So we have to wait another 30 minutes. And we're all like, should not be happening. Cursed. Like this is cursed. Anything that like it could be worse. I was just happy to be coming here, to be honest. Like after 2 years of not being here, I was just happy to be flying here, but it ended up just being like 10, 15 minutes. So when I was supposed to land at 1, I ended up landing around like 5.
Wow. I mean,
and then I went out that night.
And you went out, so it was fine.
It was fine. I made it.
It's annoying. It's a whole day of travel.
Yeah, it is a whole day of travel, but I've had so much worse.
Well, a friend of mine who just got here, she was flying from Boston, connecting in Newark, and then Newark here.
Yeah.
She ended up getting to Newark, having her flight canceled because of the COVID situation. Right. Then she got put on another flight that kept getting delayed. So she got here, I think, 28 hours later than she expected.
Oh, that's so much worse. So mine sounds like shit compared to that.
She slept in Newark for 2 nights, basically, at the end. They wouldn't give her a voucher.
Really?
Yeah. So she was just telling me that. They were like, she just basically slept on the floor of the hotel and ended up getting here. Instead of getting here Sunday night at 10 p.m., got here so I guess basically Tuesday morning.
That's miserable. Yeah. Let's talk a little about robing after dark here before we do in-road dining, because obviously we love the nightlife here in Casa. We go out, as we mentioned, every single night. What makes this place so special? What about it? If you want to talk about a little about how our nights work, maybe if that helps. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's nice because the beach, at least during this week, sort of serves as the central hub of the beginning of the day in the plans.
Yeah.
Like everyone goes to the beach, you meet up there, you have a couple drinks. Historically, you'll go and get a sunset drink at the beach bar, the beach club.
And we will both be there today. No.
We'll both be there.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll be there.
You'll be there. I'll be there. You have a couple drinks, then you go home and have dinner. Everyone sort of like disperses for dinner. And then you meet back up. On an early night, like we did the other day, we went back to the hotel bar, which is sort of like,
the
I was
OG.
joking. It's like where everybody, first met or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a really nice place for a chill drink. And then you'll go up to Altos or the marina, usually around midnight. And depending the vibe, we either go to Altos and go to Onos, Altos de Chavon, same bar name. It's a sister bar to the one that my brother and Nate own. Happens to have a nice outdoor space. The drinks are affordable. Music is decent. And they've got a DJ and it's kind of fun. And it has sort of like a terrace feel. Altos de Chavon being the classic sort of Italian medieval style stone town that was built here in the 70s by Charles Bludorn, who was a big investor and former owner of Casa de Campos, the resort.
Wow.
Yes.
You're very knowledgeable.
He was also the owner of Paramount Pictures.
Oh, really?
Yes. And Paramount Pictures and Central Romana and Casa de Campo were sister companies for many years.
No way.
Yes. They were both Gulf and Western Corporation properties.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So do more research on that. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
A bunch of movies were actually filmed here back when.
Any off the top of your head?
They say that Apocalypse Now, that some of the scenes were filmed here in Altos on the river. For sure, the scenes that are set in Cuba in The Godfather Part 2 were filmed here as well.
No way.
Yes. Anyways.
Back to Altos.
Back to Altos. You'll go and have some drinks there. It tends to be really fun. It can be a little bit younger just because kids go there and
because they'll serve you at any age here.
Yeah, it's fun.
You don't bring an ID.
Yeah,
inside.
It's different. Yeah, and then SBG, which is the bar that's in the lighthouse in the marina, is a little bit more adult. SBG, interestingly enough, used to be called the Victory Club, and it was owned allegedly by one of Versace's former lovers.
No way.
Yeah. I'm not sure how much, whether it's apocryphal or not.
Yeah.
That's like the legend.
That's cool.
And then it was bought by a group from Santo Domingo and renamed Sophia Bar and Grill, or SBG.
Yeah.
Food's great. Vibes are great. It's very much, I want to say almost like Mykonos vibes. I don't know. It's got you could see the marina and the docks. Got a pool inside the restaurant.
I've never seen anyone use that pool.
People used to jump into it and get into it when it first opened. I think it's been a while. People were like, that's kind of weird. We're not going to jump into it at night. But people used to. And it's just, good food, good service. Drinks are fun. They've got a DJ as well. A little bit more of an adult crowd. It's more expensive than Onos. So it draws.
It's definitely older, for sure.
Yeah. People are like mid-20s to, 50s even.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of a fun, hip, chic crowd.
It's less sweaty also than Onos.
Breeze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
so that place is fun. And their Disco Genesis is back in Altos. That is.
You call it Disco Genesis?
Discoteca Genesis, like it's Genesis, but
yeah.
It's a nightclub. Genesis has been open in Altos since Altos originally opened. It was closed for a few years. They redid it. But Genesis.
It was closed for a while, I feel like.
Genesis is where we used to go, like as teenagers, and sneak in. They used to have an open bar for $20.
No way. Can they bring that back?
I wish. I was reminiscing with someone that was like in the year 2000. We used to like sneak in there at age like 13.
I remember when I first started coming here, like you guys would mention it, but it wasn't open.
Right, because it was closed for many years.
Yeah, it was closed. But when I first started coming, there was Onos, Papa Jack's, El Club. At one point, it was now the living room, right?
Yeah, okay.
It was called like El Club, and we're like, it's literally just the club.
Yeah.
And so we were just bar hop.
Yeah, now it's a little bit less
moving
bar
around.
Hopping. You sort of like pick your place and sort of stick to it, even though, I have talked about a few different things, but normally it's like you go to one location, you go to a second location, you stay there.
Yeah.
Like you're not doing like multiple things.
No. Because now there's less.
There's just fewer things to do.
There's only one rule in Altos, which I learned the hard way, and that is no heels in Altos unless they're really thick or like a wedge, because you will eat shit. And I did. Yeah.
Altos is paved with stones. It's like a cobbled path.
Yeah.
And I remember telling you like, yo, if I were you, I would not wear heels here.
And I was like, I got this. And I wasn't even drunk at the time. I was like, I think I was sober, but I just like could not walk.
Yeah, it's bad.
So I had like you and Julio holding me up, walking me up to Ono's. And I think you guys are like, just sit here.
Just like
sit. Just don't move.
Yeah, it's treacherous. It can be pretty treacherous.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely have some bruises and banged up knees, probably some rolled ankles from nights in Altos. But I feel like the best part of it is that it is really pretty and like cute up there. That like when I would say I first started coming here, my crazy nights, like we would go up to like nooks and crannies of in Altos with somebody and
no comment. Yeah. Solutions. Yeah. I mean, there's
shit goes down.
Yeah. You know, we'll be walking around and you sort of hear someone and you're like, oh, okay. Just keep walking.
Yeah.
Like,
keep going. Keep going. But yeah, it's definitely a fun time. And I think what's special about Casa is that for when you come with families and you know that you have different age ranges, whatever, it's a good time for kind of everyone. And it gives like older kids a opportunity to like be social on vacation. And if you don't want to go out, you don't have to, but it's something that like if you're new coming here, you won't know about it until like you meet someone that will share the news.
Yeah. I will say it just, to me, what's really special about it is that it just feels like a safe space. It feels like a safe space for people to have their, you know, first like efforts at becoming an adult, right? Like obviously, you know, there's always like someone's family member or someone's like older cousin. It's very much like families there. And like you'll see the younger cousins like, I don't know, having their first ever beer, making out with something. It's just like, and you're like, oh, that's cute. Like these kids are like playing cute. Adult. And then, like, the older, myself being like the oldest cousin and the oldest like grandson and also from here, like, I'm just like, no, like everybody else is hanging out. We're just like kicking it here. Yeah. And everyone can share and be in the same physical spaces without being weird or also without like feeling concern for someone else. Like it's just a place where everyone, a wide range of people, and like because it's sort of arranged along familial lines, can cohabitate the same space. And it's really nice because it just has this sense of like, we're all good here. Like everybody's having a fun time and everyone can be together and like do their own thing. You could keep an eye on like. Yeah.
When I used to come with my cousins, like I used to have like a big family that would come, and now it's dwindled down over the years, but my cousins who are younger than me would come and I would come and I would hang out with you guys. And it's also nice because I feel like since I've been coming year after year, I've met so many of your friends, and I think everyone, because we are on vacation, like are open to meeting other people and are really friendly, and everyone just wants to have a good time.
Like this is a place where you form friendships for life, and to be able to translate that into real life, like outside of Casa.
Yeah. Like this is a fantasy world here like, for the most part.
My sister and one of our friends from here are going to like a concert together in the States in a few months. Like
I love that.
People are just like, hey, I'll see you like back, like you form a good friendship here, and it's not intense, but like you do see a lot of each other because it's a small community. And so then when you go back to the States, you can form and like expand on these friendships living like in the States. So it's really nice.
So we spoke a little bit about the restaurants here in Casa, but for in-road dining, I like to talk about the food in where we are. And obviously there are a ton of restaurants here within Casa, but I also am kind of curious of your favorite restaurants outside of the walls of Casa de Campo. So if you could speak a little bit about both, that would be amazing.
I would say probably my favorite one inside Casa is La Piazzetta.
Oh, I went there the other night.
It's phenomenal.
They have amazing pasta.
Really, really good pasta.
Amazing.
Mostly made in house.
And it's beautiful. It's like overlooking, it's in Altos and it's overlooking the Chavon River. But like, it's hard to see at night, but it really is beautiful.
Yeah, and it's built inside sort of a stone warehouse, the same style as Altos is made, all like hand-placed stones. So again, you feel like you're in a medieval Italian walled city. Historically, La Piazzetta was sort of like the highest fine dining option within Casa. Really? It had handmade pasta, a wonderful antipasto bar. They had an old guy who played the accordion and would serenade your table. Yeah. It was this really phenomenal, great wine selection, Italian wines mostly. My favorite dish there I used to do was the mushroom risotto and
no way, because that was my favorite dish there.
That's my favorite dish.
Wait, did I get that from you?
I don't know, maybe.
Wait, mushroom risotto is my favorite thing, and I used to get that every year there, but they took it off the menu.
Yeah, they used to have that. They also
now they have seafood
saffron risotto. I'm not sure if they're still doing it.
Wait, I'm actually so shook about the mushroom risotto because really no joke, I would get that. Like I would come make my family go to that restaurant for the mushroom risotto.
Yeah, it's really great. I would say that's probably my favorite dining option within Casa.
Mm-hmm.
They had a Le Cirque partnership restaurant at the main hotel for a while and at the beach.
At the beach.
I'm not sure what the situation of that is, but I think it's no longer a partnership. But the food there was really good.
It was.
And the beach has really phenomenal ceviche as well. Like
I also... this is going to sound weird, but I've had like a chicken Caesar, but like grilled chicken Caesar at the beach every day, which is, you're going to think it's like weird for me to say, oh, you're getting a chicken Caesar here. But I'm telling you, it's good. Or they have like a shrimp and avocado salad that's also really good. Yeah. Manitas Beach Club has great food.
Yeah, the beach club is phenomenal food.
Yeah.
They've got like some food trucks for quicker sort of faster.
They have like
quesadillas or what have you.
Yeah, they have like shrimp skewers and stuff.
But then the restaurant itself has just really good food.
And really good French fries.
Really good French fries.
Like really good. I'll probably get some today. Yeah, I'll probably get some today. They're so good.
Outside of Altos. So outside of Casa. I'm sorry. Even though there is one in the marina, I think La Casita in town.
There's another one?
The original La Casita is in La Romana.
Okay.
Phenomenal Italian and Spanish food. Like their focus really is sort of like Spanish food.
Mm-hmm. Like I usually get paella when I go there.
Yeah, but they do everything so well. Everything's just really, really good. I've never had something that I didn't enjoy there.
Yeah.
Their pulpo a la gallega, so octopus, like Galician style, is exquisite. I've
never had that there.
Out of control good.
There was a restaurant that my family and I used to go to. It was the one place that we went to like
Lucas.
Is it Italian? It's downstairs. It's like two tables. It's like really tiny.
Yeah. I'm not sure it's still open, but Lucas was open for
Did you guys send us there?
Maybe. Yeah. We used to go all the time. It was right next to my grandpa's house.
It was so good.
Phenomenal mom and pop Italian place. Fresh food pasta every day. Incredible focaccias. Really good everything.
I don't know why we stopped going. We used to go when my grandparents came here. We would go with them. It would be like the one place that we'd go outside of Casa de Campo. And yeah, it was so good. It was really cute.
Yeah, it was just really good. I'm not sure if it's still open. I haven't been in.
I hope so. Well, I appreciate you doing this. Thank you so much. That's it for this episode of One in Robes. I'm Carly Consker, and let everyone know where they can follow you if they want to follow you.
Yeah, you can follow my Instagram at J López-Sánchez, J the letter J, López-Sánchez, my last name. Mostly I post some really weird leftist memes. It's great stuff.
But if you're into that, follow him.
Dank memes and humor. Yeah, thank you for having me. This is such a pleasure. Good to see you again.
Thank you really so much. This is great. Stay tuned because you never know where we'll end up next. Goodbye. Bye. Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe, rate us, and leave a review. And as always, follow us on Instagram at OneInRobesPod. And while you're there, you might as well follow me at Carly Consker. See you next time.